Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Today's topic, we're talking about sleeping with the enemy. It's disheartening how today's society has become. I know people who date people who do not have no good intentions for them. I know people who are in relationships who literally are in competition with each other. I know people who say that they want the best for somebody, but yet and still they're not trying to help that person get to the best version of themselves. I genuinely believe that there are a lot of people in today's society that are sleeping with the enemy. This is sad. I was talking to a couple, and what made me do this topic today is I talked to a couple, and the whole time, all they kept talking about minds, and more minds. It was never ours. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say this on record. If you plan on getting into a serious relationship, if your woman or your man has debt, that means you guys both have debt. Let's have that conversation. Let me say that one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting into a serious relationship and your mate has debt, that means both of you guys have debt. I think the goal is to be debt-free for the both of you. Not that that's her problem. Not that that's his problem. We're in a society today where people do not want to accept everything that comes along with being with the person you're choosing. You have to understand, you're dating their family too. Because that gene pool is in that child that you're gonna give that child, that woman, or that man. Let me say that again. That gene pool is in that child, regardless of what you say. See, the issue we have in today's society is people are dating people who are triggering to them. Let me say that statement again. There are people who date people who are triggering to them. When I was a child, my mother told me years ago, and I thought she was crazy, she said opposites attract. But I was always attracted to everything that looked like me because I wanted everything to accommodate the way I behaved. When you're not learning that everything you should be attaching yourself to is everything that accommodates what you aren't. When we say opposites attract, that's what we mean by that premise. You need someone, if you know you're bad with money, why are you dating someone bad with money? Someone has to have that logic. Someone has to have that level of maturity. Someone has to have consciousness where they say, wait. What are you doing? It's gonna affect us. And notice the word I keep saying is us. There are people in today's society who are literally sleeping with the enemy. I'm scared of the world we live in today. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm scared of it. And the reason why I'm scared of it is because most people aren't genuine anymore. We sit down and look at people for what they can do for us opposed to what we can do together. Today I was having a conversation with a family, and it's sad that we're in the most expensive times of our life. Inflation is to the moon. But yet and still people keep saying, I don't need somebody. We can tell because you're not winning. Because I genuinely believe that people that still believe that working together is still the most prominent thing that any human can do is the ones who win. The most people cannot afford to buy no home. We're suffering from people who have something called the main character energy. Let me tell you what that is. It's the idea that you are the main character in the world and everyone else is a non-playable character. Let me say that again. We're suffering from main character energy, where everyone feels like they're the main character and everyone else is very disposable. No one else matters. Everything is about what you want. Imagine having a conversation with someone and something bothers you, and yet and still you can't express that something bothers you, right? This is the conversations that we're not having today. Imagine going to someone and saying, yo, I don't like this and I don't like that, but yet and still you're not allowed to express yourself. right? A main character is simply important to the plot, but the actions does not necessarily have to drive the plot. We got a bunch of people who want to be him or her, right? But this is the issue. I'm so scared of today because imagine talking to a married couple and the married woman says, that's his kids. My sister, you married a man that had children before you. I think that's both of y'all responsibility. Because the moment you take on someone with children, whether a male or a female, those responsibilities become both of y'all because you're a stepmother and you're a stepfather. I would never date a woman, and I want y'all to hear this, who says this, oh, my children is my responsibility, you don't have to worry about it. I will never date a person like that. And the reason being is this. If a woman tells you, I don't need you to help me with my children, and the woman doesn't expect you to lead her children. Because if I'm coming into a house as the man, I plan on leading, so I have to have a relationship with the children. Because in order to lead, you have to have some form of relationship. If a man does not want to come into your house and accept your children, then that man doesn't really accept everything that comes with you. He's really only accepting you. And vice versa. There's no way I'm gonna go into a woman's house and the woman can say, you don't gotta worry about my kids, I can take care of everything. I would never. Because if my kids are wearing Jordans and my girl has kids, her kids are gonna wear Jordans also. If my kids are on vacation, so will her kids be on vacation with me. I will not exile her children and treat them any different from the moment I accept her and her children. This is the new world. We live in a very sick world. Why are people sleeping with their enemies? You know you come from trauma. I'm gonna tell you something. I want y'all to hear this. Listen to this. Guys, I want y'all to hear this crazy. There was a particular woman. I did a one-on-one with her. And the scariest thing she said to me, last week, she came on an episode and we had a conversation. The one thing that stood out to me the most when we were speaking, she said to me she sleeps with older gentlemen because she's looking for her father and these grown men that she's never had. And when I say it affected me psychologically so much to the point where it brought me to tears, you're hearing a woman who says that she's sleeping with men because she's looking for her father and men because she never had her father. But yet and still, you know what society does? We judge. We're gonna look down at this person for what they're going through. Well, I'm telling you like this, I don't look at somebody for their shortcomings. I don't laugh at people for what they aren't. Especially when you know you got shoulders big enough to carry other people. If you're strong, then you'll be the person that's actually lifting people up. It is so hard to be yourself in a world of people who act like clones. It is so hard to be your organic self in a world of people who act like clones. Everyone is cartoons in putting on their mask. No one comes as their original self anymore. Because again, we hide our problems, our flaws. I know I have issues and I'm comfortable with it. But my fear is someone's gonna cast a stone at me because of the fact that I have problems also. No one is perfect. We're in a culture that's perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect. We will always be imperfect. No one is better than no one. But it's sad when you have a culture of people who don't believe they need to work together. Economically, it don't make sense when black coaches say we don't need each other. Economically, let me say that again, it doesn't make sense when black people say they don't need each other. Because we're at the bottom of the totem pole and we're basically fighting for the scraps because we don't want to work together to get out of this goddamn bucket. Get it? Crabs in a bucket. Crabs in a bucket. But we don't believe we need each other. We don't believe we need each other. They said during Jim Crow, after Jim Crow, black people own more houses than they do today. And today there's more houses built than it was back then. Because look at what changed. Grandma did not see her husband as competition. Grandpa did not see his wife as competition. They brought everything to the table and they made it work. But now you have people stealing from the table because everyone is out to screw everybody. When I hear a couple tell me, that's hers and that's his, I tell you automatically you are not made to be married. You're not made to be in a relationship. I genuinely believe that's what changed. We keep saying that women are feminists. Yes, they are nowadays. The men are very soft. Yes, they are nowadays. But I genuinely believe one of the major changes is the fact that we don't value marriage anymore. We don't value marriage. We don't value marriage. We don't stand on principles. We don't stand on integrity. Our moral compass is leading us back to the destination where we started. Trash. And if we don't learn to work together, we're going to continue to sleep with the goddamn enemy. We fall in the hands of the enemy, and then we wonder why we cannot win. But I'm going to tell you something. Anytime the game is rigged against you, the only way to beat the game is by working together. But we don't work together. We're so captivated by what I got for myself. This is the new culture. This is the new culture, right? We're fighting each other. Yes, we are. I cannot look at a woman and see her as my enemy. And I'm gonna say this on record. Any of my mans wanna hear this and get mad, God bless you. You gotta be a soft dude to be in competition with a woman. A woman could never be my goddamn enemy. My enemy is called B-I-L-L-S. Bills, responsibilities. That's my goddamn enemy. A woman could never be my goddamn enemy. A woman could never be my goddamn enemy. Because I'm not in competition with no woman. I don't want to wear panties. I don't want her role. Because I already accepted as from the beginning of time that as a man, I will not always be rewarded for everything I do. I will not always get the round of applause. I will not always get looked at as, thank you, daddy. But yet and still, guess what I do every day as a man? I get up, I put my drawers on or my boxes, and I fight every single goddamn day. And I'm not worried about who see me and not see me, because my creator sees me. When you do things and you always looking for a reward, that means you're not doing it genuinely. Let me say that again. When you do things organically and genuinely, then you should not always be looking for a reward. And as a father, I do not look for a reward. You know what rewards me is seeing my children's success. You know what rewards me when I help somebody out is when I see them come out of that dark hole. Because there are a lot of people in that sunken space, literally going through something, right? Whether it's trauma, whether it's old issues that they haven't ironed out. When they learn to figure out how to get out of these holes, that's when I feel like I'm winning. Because I'm gonna tell you something, you gotta be a selfish piece of crap to keep pouring into a cup that's full. You gotta be so goddamn selfish to wanna keep pouring into your cup when it's already full. You can't even handle the pressure that you have at this level, but you want this goddamn level. You a goddamn fool. You're crying about the pressures at this level, but you want this goddamn level. I'm gonna tell y'all something. One of my good friends, he came to me, him and his wife. They don't qualify for a house, right? They don't make enough on the books. He has a lot of little businesses that he do on the side where he makes more money. But sometimes black people, we gotta realize this. When Uncle Sam don't see it, it don't count. Let me say that again. When Uncle Sam don't see it, it don't count. So regardless of what you make off the books, that money don't count to the government. So let's just have that conversation. So long story short, I said, yo, bro, I know another married couple who's looking for a property, and you're looking for a property. Won't y'all partner up? He said, what you mean? I said, what is a deed? He said, deed is who controls the asset, which is the house. I said, how about you and your wife, him and his wife, y'all buy a multifamily together? He looked at it, and I said, now rent your basement out. And when you rent your basement out, you know what you could do? He said, what? Whatever's the difference of the income as far as payment, that's what y'all pay. And if y'all ever sell, remember, you have to write off on the paper, Your wife has to write off, he has to write off, and so does his wife. So no one can ever do anything monkey business-wise without each other. He said, damn, I never thought about that. I said, because you know why? Difference is every other culture realizes that it's about working together, right? Our culture is about, I'm gonna figure it out. And by the time you figure it out, you're heading towards your goddamn grave. By the time you figure it out, you're heading towards your goddamn grave. Because what it is about is working with people to build. And the issue I have when people say, oh, my family don't work together, the problem is you trying to work with people because you're related. Your family can be created. Let me say that again. You're working with people because you're related. No, your family can be people you created. I have people that I call family who are not blood related to me. I got a guy named Chris. I got a guy named Dre. I got a guy named Tyler. I got a son named Kinsey. Yes, I said that. And you want to hear something crazy? I trust these people more than my biological family. And the reason being is because we're related. But that don't mean we share the same agenda. We don't share the same morals. Listen, as people elevate, so will your audience. If your audience hasn't elevated with your mentality, that means you are stuck in a bad space. If you are not elevating, that means you're stuck in ground zero. But if you want to surpass a certain level, you have to get around certain people who carry the same mentality. But again, I don't sit back every day trying to make somebody something they're not. Because I'm gonna tell you something. That's like you sitting there trying to teach a dog how to fly. You see what I just said, right? That's like you standing there talking to a brick wall and wondering why it won't move. You're wasting your goddamn time. But if you're around people who meet the same criteria morally, mentally, economically, this is who you build with. Because life is about building. All the trips, all the travel, all the social media posts means absolutely nothing when you gotta come back to a situation you hate. Let me say that again. All the trips, all the pictures, all the traveling, all the cars, all the clothes means absolutely nothing when every day you come home to a place you hate. Because life is about building. We sleeping with the enemy. We falling into the bed of the enemy. It's the enemy that's literally creating this premise of life that people cannot see. My ladies, you hate your brothers. My brothers, and I hate to say this, you hate your sisters. My brothers, you in competition with women. Women, you in competition with men. I thought the dopest thing about sports, and I hope that most people, why I always tell people to play sports, is because what you aren't good at, you find somebody that's good at it to delegate what you aren't good at. Sports is about doing a role, so therefore you win the goal. The goal is to win. It's not about running around talking about I'm a champion, but you lost. You're bragging about losing. And this is what we're doing. I genuinely believe this, and I'm gonna say this on record, somebody gonna take this personal. I think black culture is so captivated by creating who struggles the most and bragging about it, or B, hiding their struggle so much that they act like they're not in a bad situation, but they are. I think that's our culture now. To the point where it's about putting things on me that hide me from my struggle, and then secondly, it's about the second type of person is the person that brags about who's in a deeper struggle. We want to be in this rut. You're bragging about how much to the hood you come from. I had a guy tell me the other day, well, I'm the 5th generation that lived in Brooklyn. I said, that means that's 5 generations in the projects. That's 5 generations of goddamn struggle. That's not winning. Damn. Listen to that statement. 5 generations of staying in the projects, that's 5 generations of failure. What the hell are we talking about here? We wear prison as a badge of honor. Our kids are insecure because the men that we say we don't look after our youth anymore. We don't give a damn about them. Let's just have a conversation. That little boy sagging, want to look like a thug is because he's insecure. He probably hates his living situation. His mama probably at home struggling every day. So guess what? His only way of escaping it is running to a drug or a substance because he's trying to escape what he's going through at home. But you're going to say this is an excuse. It's an excuse. Let's have this conversation. Everyone is not psychologically the same strength. Everyone does not have the same levels of strength. Some people cannot, and I say this with conviction, some people cannot and will not get to certain levels because mentally they haven't gotten to certain levels. We just speaking the truth. We got to learn how to have empathy and sympathy for others. Everyone wants the superior being, but yet and still don't see that. Why you're not winning is because when you make the vision bigger than you, gotta make the mission bigger for you. Let me say that again. When you make the mission bigger than you, God will make the mission big enough for you. And until it's big enough for you, he will not make the mission big enough than you. Why? Because you care about your big house for yourself, no one else. You didn't say, I want a big house because I want to put my family in it. You say you want a big house because you want to flex. You didn't say you want a nice car because you got tired of driving hoopties. You want a nice car because you want to flex. You want nice clothes because you want to flex. Everything is about showing off. And guess what? 9 out of 10 times when you're showing off for people who don't have a goddamn thing, which makes you a bum. Damn. I love my culture. I love it. But I just hate our behaviors. I hate our behaviors. I'm tired of kicking things under the rug, acting as if I don't see it. What I talk about all the time is addressing the elephant. I'm not gonna see the elephant in the room and act like it doesn't exist. You ever been in a room and somebody farted and you act like you don't smell it because you don't want to say it? My mama could be sitting in the room. My grandmother, I'm like, Grandma, you farted? You wildin'. I'm that guy. And the reason why I'm that guy because I realized that culturally what changed. Watch this narrative, guys. If I go to a woman in most cases and I corner her with something about herself, more than likely she'll get defensive, right? Because women are naturally feeling-based creatures. So if I go to a man and I corner him and I tell him about himself and he goes into his feelings, what is that? What is he? He's a goddamn female. Damn. That's what changed. Let me say that again. If I go to a woman, Kinsey, I corner her, and I'm saying something about her that's making her uncomfortable, chances are she's gonna get in her feelings, right? So if I go to a man and I corner him and I tell him about himself and he get in his feelings, what are we dealing with? What are we dealing with? Damn! That's scary. And that's the new generation of men. Anytime you speak truth, people always get offensive or offended or disrespected. Someone said, a child, I love that, you're right. She's right. A goddamn child. We falling in the hands of our enemies and don't see that we can change the narrative if we choose to change the narrative. Think about this. No one makes you go spend money on luxury items but yourself. I don't give a damn what commercial I see, don't mean I'm ordering it. They're setting us up right now for failure. When you see, I'm gonna say this and somebody's gonna get offended. Black culture, I admire, and I'm saying this with conviction, I admire the Hispanic culture. I admire them. And the reason why I admire them, because the abuela, which is grandma, right? Abuela is not going to no old folks home. Abuela is staying with her family. When you get rid of the monarch, right? You literally getting rid of your history. And once the history is gone, you don't even know who you are. Once you get rid of your history, you don't know who you are. Abuela keeps everything together in order because Abuela is gonna tell you the truth about yourself. Abuela don't bite her tongue. Abuela ain't biting no tongue. She gonna tell you about yourself. And I think that's what changed. Everyone wants to celebrate so much, but don't see that, yo, look at our families. You have families who children, we talking about biological brothers and sisters who kids don't even know each other. They don't even know each other. Let me say that again. They live 5 minutes from each other, don't even know each other. This is what we're talking about. This is the new culture. I can't live with seeing my mother in somebody's old folk home, right, when I'm alive. There is no way in hell I would do that, right? Because this is the culture. They're breaking up the family structure because once the family structure is broken, you're gonna have very disgruntled children who are insecure as hell, and they become adults who are what? Insecure as hell. So what happens is they're making more money off the insecurities of people rather than teaching these people how to be comfortable with themselves. You're seeing it in real time. In real time, you're seeing our children who are insecure. Because again, daddy wasn't man enough to raise his goddamn son. Daddy wasn't man enough to raise his goddamn daughter. I told you the scariest thing I ever heard is a woman looking me in my face and said, I went and slept with a multitude of men because of the fact that my daddy, I was looking for him in men. I'm a man of daughters. I would die if my daughter said that to me. Let me say that again. I would die if my daughter said that to me. You got men that can wake up every day, get fly, and don't even give a damn if they child ate. And then they'll say like, I give $100 a week for child support. I don't like giving her money because she's gonna get her hair done. I don't give a damn if my baby mother chooses or my child's mother uses the money or whatever. My child lives with her, so therefore, guess what? Someone is taking care of that kid. Because every time you see your kid, it looks like they're eating. And they have something called a roof over their head. One of the dopest stories I've seen, and I know everyone can't do this, but it was dope. Watch this. There was a man who had a son. Him and the mother decided they didn't want to be together. She went on and started dating. He went on and started dating. But eventually he ended up finding someone he fell in love with. So he said to the ex-wife, yo, I'm dating somebody. And either A, we could move out, sell a house, or B, she could move in here. You know the ex-wife, because genuinely, when you're not in a space where you're not in love with the person, so you say, why are you worried about who they with? If you don't care, why would you care? The only way, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the only way I would care if one of my exes about who they're dating, if the person is putting his hands on the person. That's the only way I would care. Other than that, I would not care, right? As long as the person is not a bad example around my child, I wouldn't care. Because if you moved on, and you say you genuinely moved on, why are you worried about who your person is sleeping with? Why are you worried? That's none of your business. I don't care. But back to this family. What he did was this. The woman that he had another child with, she got pregnant, right? Long story short, he moved both of the women in the same house. His ex-wife and his current wife. And you know they raised all the kids and all the family together? And they didn't have no problems because the wife didn't want to be with him no more and he didn't want to be with the wife no more. And they both looked at it like, damn, if he let his son move out, you know his son is going to go to a less affluent environment. He's not going to go to a better environment. He's going to go to a worse environment. So he said, damn, if I keep us here, right, it's better for all of us. Because the son's mother's not living in the trenches and she's paying less money because the man is still present. The man is still present, right? And then the other woman who's pregnant with a child get to have the father with her kid. I said it makes sense. So what he did was he let the ex-wife take the upstairs, he took the mid-level. And they raised their children together. And the crazy part is, and this is why I tip my hat to this ex-wife. This is how amazing she is. She was such an influence to the new baby. You know they made her the godmother of the new baby? Because it takes maturity. And this is what a lot of us don't have. Someone sitting on my live probably like, I would never do, yeah, because you immature. You immature. You're a grown woman that hates your baby daddy, so guess what? You want him to bury in hell. But if you say you love your child, right, that's a part of your child that they love. So regardless of anything, I would never want to see nothing wrong with my child's mother because I love my kid. How the hell would you want to see your kid? If your kid lives with the mom and you know that the mom is struggling, that means you are the problem. You know that that kid is struggling. So why would I ever want to do that? Why would I ever want my child mother to be in a position where she's struggling, knowing that I am the one that started a family that I broke apart? This is what we're creating: broken families, broken life, everything broken. Because there's broken people in a broken world dating broken people. Y'all didn't hear that. There are broken people in a broken world dating broken people. And all they doing is procreating broken people. The scariest thing when you meet a broken little person who's gonna grow to be a broken big person because they don't understand family structure. You got people that say I'm not letting my kid go around that. You say you're done with him. Why are you worried about that? Your kid knows you're the dad. Your kid knows that you're the mom. Why do you care? Because the culture is all about fighting. My theory is this. I always ask this question. If two people separate, why do they always have to be enemies? I'm asking this question, guys. Why do two people have to always be enemies? My child's mother could never be my enemy. I don't care how she acts, but I care about how I react. Because I'm only responsible for my actions. So I'm not gonna stoop to her level because guess what? I'm gonna pray for her. I'm gonna pray for her. And this is what the culture don't do. When the last time did you fall on your knees and pray for somebody? When? When? Just because you might be in the greatest space psychologically don't mean they are. And sometimes I hate to say this, when people go back into the dating world, they usually don't get what they were looking for. Because 9 out of 10 times, some of the people that they dated, whether man or whether woman, that person was actually good for them, but we cannot see what's in front of us. We can't see what's in front of us because we're too busy looking behind us. There are too many people who are literally staying in the past. I told my brother today, and I want y'all to hear this. My little brother said this to me. He said, why do you think men and women have problems when it comes to dating? I said, women grow up watching Cinderella. Cinderella is a woman who a man came in and saved. So there are a lot of women who have that envision that a man is supposed to come in and save them. Watch this. I said, what do we grow up watching? He said, what? I said, we grew up watching Ninja Turtles and fighting movies. 9 out of 10 times, for the man to enjoy happiness, the man had to fight for his happiness. So men are used to fighting for their own happiness. And this is what we're doing now. So the guy looked at me and said, my brother looked at me and said, damn, I never thought about that. I said, again, Cinderella is a story that a man came in and saved her, right? But Ninja Turtles is a story where men have to fight for their right to be happy, right? So I said, you have to understand, some people are so delusional because they watch movies. They believe that this whole fictional life exists. They believe that someone's gonna gallop in and ride them off into the sunset. If you watch a movie with a woman and it's very emotional, what do they start doing? Start crying. Because a lot of women are emotional creatures, which is normal. But again, we have to get into reality where we start realizing that this dating world and dating is not a movie. It's reality. You're gonna get real stress, real aggravation, real problems. Nothing is peaches and cream every single day. But again, our culture has been taught that you're not a man if you don't do enough. It's sad, and the scariest thing, I want y'all to hear this. And I'm gonna ask everybody on my live, and I'm gonna ask everybody in the studio. If you got if your bills will cost $100,000, right? All your bills. And I said, I cut your bills in half. Would you be happy? Would you be happy? Would you be happy? I meet people that say, I would rather pay all my bills than have a man go 50-50 with me. I said, let me tell you something. You know why you're saying 50-50? Because it's two people getting in a relationship counting each other's pockets. If you guys were all in, there would never be a 50-50. It would be all y'all's going out to pay your bills. But again, we don't think like that. Why are we still talking about 50-50 when we're saying that we're in a committed relationship? If you're committed, that means everything is on the table and we work 100-100. If she happens to make more money, so be it. If he happens to make more money, so be it. But if everything is in, we just pay the bills with it. No one will be watching how much of mine is being taken because it's ours that's being taken. But the culture is so wrong. They're telling us how to behave like children. We behave like kids. It's grown people literally fighting against ungrown people, telling, oh my God, a real man would do this and buy me Birkins. Shorty, you live in a project, you shouldn't be worried about a Birkin bag. I'm being honest. Brother, you work at Kmart, you should not be, or Walmart, you should not be worried about giving no goddamn girl no Birkin bag. See, the problem is you will listen to men, they'll say something like this: I don't want to get married because of the fact that a woman gonna take all my stuff. A woman can't take your job as a bus driver. And I'm not trying to take no shade. But you wanna know something? That bus driver, right? Kizzy, that bus driver working with a bus matron can build something. That bus driver and a bus matron can build something together though. See what I'm saying? When we looking at it like, oh my God, I'm not gonna lose all my stuff. Listen, if you go into a marriage looking to steal somebody's stuff, then you're a bum and God gonna have his way with you. He's gonna have his way with you. It's sad. When you start learning dating, stop dating what you're attracted to and start dating what you need. Because there's a difference between wanting something, right, and needing something. 9 out of 10 times when you listen to people describe what they want, it doesn't even make sense. I'm like, you want that, you don't need it. Ladies, what do you need? Someone that's gonna respect you. So would you take money over respect? I'm asking my people in my life, what is more important, respect or money? I'll take respect over money all day because someone that respects me is gonna follow me and we can build something together. But nowadays, people are willing to take money over respect. My integrity, my principles. Ladies, I'm gonna go on record and say this, and my guys on my live, please agree if you agree. If a man is coming already 100% established, he will never see you as a partner. Let me say that one more time. Ladies, if you meet a man who is 100% together, he will never see you as a partner. You're not his partner. A partner is someone that helps build. But our culture is taught that we're supposed to take advantage of each other. We're supposed to use. Let me ask you something. You know, when you look at our culture, you know we're at the bottom of the barrel financially? That's like going into an empty store and stealing stuff and they can't even afford to lose the stuff that you're stealing. Look what I just said to you. Imagine going somewhere where they can't afford to lose anything and you're stealing it. That's what we're doing right now. We're at the bottom of the financial totem pole, but yet and still believing that we're taking our things from each other. That's sad as hell. That's sad as hell. That is so goddamn sad, man. There is no way I'm gonna look at my ex-wife and be like, yo, I want you to be at the bottom of the barrel. I want you to fall off. I want you to be miserable. I would never want that. And you think that you are a child of God? There is no goddamn way you're a child of God talking like that. There is no way, and God's gonna have his day with you. The Bible says, let me say this, I'm sorry to say this, I don't usually use my biblical, but I'm gonna use it. The Bible says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. He said he'll make your enemies your footstool. He says vengeance is his. He'll make your enemies your footstool. A lot of people, they're out here looking like footstools because God's having his way with them. It's your heart. You do not allow somebody with a dirty heart to make your heart unclean. You do not stoop to an ignorant person's level and believe that you are playing tit for tat. We grown as hell. I'm not gonna play tit for tat with no child. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do what's right no matter what the circumstances permit. Right, the other day I had to tell this lady, I said, even if you're mad at your man, you should not stop doing what the relationships need to move forward. Let me say that one more time. Because I genuinely believe a lot of women do this. And I'm sorry, I don't want to take no shots or no shade, but a lot of women will neglect their responsibilities when they get mad at their men. Ladies, you still have to do what's responsible, and men too. You have to do what's responsible in your relationship, even if you are upset. That is not an excuse to neglect your responsibility. Oh, I'm upset, so guess what? I'm gonna act like a child. And listen, I respect you know the difference between our grandmothers? She could curse your daddy out, but guess what? Your daddy walk in the house, he still gotta play the fool. Because when you fight, you gotta ask yourself, is this the end all be all? If it's not the goddamn end all be all, why are you acting like it's the end all be all? We fought. It's life. At the end of the day, we still got responsibilities. I had a homeboy, right? And I lost so much respect for this guy when I started seeing the truth. You know what he used to do? Every time he would get mad at his woman, he knows the woman is adamant about the relationship he has with their child. She's adamant about it because she didn't grow up with her dad. So she really, really adamant about him having a relationship with her kid. Well, their kid, rather. You know what he did? Every time he would get mad, he would neglect the child and act like he don't give a damn about the child because he knew it would affect her psychologically. So basically, all you're doing is showing her trauma every time you get upset. What kind of man are you? Damn. What are we doing? What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Listen, we at a space right now psychologically where we need to learn that we cannot allow the culture to come in and keep imposing on our culture. Our culture is, yo, you want to hear something funny? Flash that. Flash that. When you hear something crazy, and I want y'all to hear this. Black culture is not selfish. So anytime you hear that crap, it's bull. We come from a culture of sharing. Let me go further. Black culture is not aggressive. We talk aggressive, but we're not aggressive. We can get aggressive, but we just don't naturally come aggressive. Because what you're doing is you're telling people and you're teaching people how to be. We're some of the most loving people on earth. Very loving. You know how you want to know that we're loving? I'm going to say this, and anybody that disagree, they full of crap. Watch this. We've been enslaved. We've been beaten. We've been removed from our families, right? But have you ever physically heard a black man say, yo, we need to put white people in shackles and chains and whip them and beat them? The only thing we asking for moving forward is respect and equal opportunity. That goes to show you that we're not bad people. Let me say that again. Imagine watching your mama get whipped, beat, and raped, and now all of a sudden, the oppressor, you have the opportunity to give him back the same treatment, and you still choose not to. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. It takes a very militant mind to say, I don't want to give back the ignorance that you gave me. I'm not going to behave the same way you behaved. That's a very disciplined mind. But the problem is what happened to black culture is when we stopped working together, we started sleeping with the enemy. We started sleeping with the goddamn enemy. And this is not a black-white thing. Let's get that straight. This is a wrong and a right thing. This is a wealth against poverty. This is what this is about. I'm not sitting here talking about some, let's chase white people down. I love white people. I rock with tons of them. And I'm not saying that to be on no modesty. I rock with them. They're good people. They got good and they got bad. We got good and we got bad also. We got to start weeding out the cancer. Because the only way our culture is going to move forward is we start working back together. If we continue to allow the enemy to get in our beds, we're going to continue to have problems. It's a very toxic culture today. I sit back every day and I ask myself, what could we do different? I'm from New York. Everybody always asks me where I'm from. I'm from New York. And you look at, imagine a stat board, right? When you look at the board, every culture that you see that's winning, the one thing that's always the common denominator is they work together. Would you guys agree? Everybody in my live right now, I want y'all to answer this question. Would you agree that the common denominator of every culture that's doing well is the fact that they're working together? Would you agree? Somebody say yes. Rose Blue said yes. Our culture is following the matrix, so I said yes. Sir Howard said yes. Agreed. So when you look at that narrative, that's what it is. I don't come on this podcast to talk about some, I hate you women and you're trash and I can do better. You're big, you have kids. I don't care about that crap because there's somebody for everybody. And what might not be for me might be for somebody else. It's just what it is. I don't look at what I think is attractive and call things ugly. I always say what ugly is to me, it's a behavior. The way somebody behaves can make them very ugly because you have to be unattractive. I've met people who are physically beautiful and they're very unattractive once you get to know them. So that means what is ugly? Ugly is not a look, it's a behavior, it's an action. Why do I say that? Again, you ever met somebody very attractive and you don't like their behaviors, so therefore you're not attracted to them, so they become ugly to you. So therefore, ugly can be a behavior. It's a way of life, the way you act, the way you carry yourself. You could be the most unattractive person, but make yourself so much more attractive by the way you carry, conduct, talk, act, how respectful you are. And I think that's what changed. We looking at all the wrong things. We looking at all the wrong things. A lot of us need to seek therapy. We need to get re-helped, reevaluated. There's some of us that's been through some things, and it's normal. I think revealing is healing, guys. I think we need to self-reflect. Because I'm gonna tell you something. The other day I had to tell a guy, he got mad at the fact that one of the boys disrespected him. So he said to me, yo, I'm gonna beat him up when I see him. I said, I'm gonna ask you a question. He said, what? I said, rather than you getting mad, and I want y'all to hear this, guys, because I love y'all. When you look at how life happens, right? The only thing you can always do is self-reflect. When you keep saying to yourself, oh, I would never let this happen, always ask yourself, why? What did I do to make somebody so comfortable to try me like that? Once you're able to ask that question to yourself, you're able to fix yourself. Most cases, people, let's say if I dated a woman who wasn't for me, I gotta ask myself, what attracted her to me so I don't re-attract that same person? Because if you don't have those conversations with yourself, you're gonna ultimately bring the same type of people. There was a woman that told me on live one time that every guy I talk to is the same. I said, because there's something about you that's still the same from the last relationship. And then a lot of us have a type. A lot of us have a type, right? We go to the car, we go to the dealership, we get the same exact vehicle, and then we wonder why it drives the same. Let me say that again. Imagine going to the dealership to choose your mate. You get the same exact car you had before, Kenzie, and you wonder why it drives the same. You go to the dealership, you get the same exact car that you had before, and then you wonder why it drives the same. Because it's the same goddamn car. And that's what we do in our dating world. We get in the same vehicles over and over and over and over. All we do is renew our goddamn lease or finance. That's all we do. We renew the lease or the goddamn finance for the same goddamn vehicles, and we wonder why we're driving to the same goddamn locations. What you gotta realize is that sometimes it's not about the look, it's the behavior, it's the mentality. A lady said to me the other day, should I work with a man that hasn't got his life together? I said, let me ask you a question. She said, what? I said, do he ask you for anything? She said, no. I said, if y'all go out, he's still trying to pay his best? She said, yes. I said, is he working to better his life? She said, yes. I said, then that's a man. He's working on himself, and he's got principles. Most guys that aren't working on themselves, you know what they do? They leech. He's comfortable. You ever see the picture with the guy standing behind a girl at the register, and he's waiting for her to pay? That's that guy. The guy I know is like, y'all, I'm gonna pay no matter what. You're gonna respect me. I only make half of what you make, but guess what? I'm gonna always pay my way. That's a man. That's a man. That's a man. We gotta get out of this whole new world order crap and understand that the only people that's responsible for our culture is us. We can't keep sitting back wondering why our culture is falling at the wayside when we're not realizing that we're falling at the wayside. Why is that? Because we are in competition with each other. I'm gonna say this on record again. A woman could never be my enemy. A woman could never be my enemy. When you hear this premise, sleeping with the enemy, it's sad that the same, watch this, I want you men and women to hear this. The same women that complain about the men, they still sleep with them. The same men that complain about these women, they still sleep with them. So let's ask this question, who is the common denominator? It has to be you. Because the reality of all things is, when you look at certain people, it's the reasoning to why they are at their levels. They've made prominent choices to be what they are. Let me tell you something, you have successful, you have unsuccessful. You know both people have to work hard to be what they are. Do you understand that statement? Listen to that again, Chris. You have a successful person, you have an unsuccessful person, and both people have to work hard to be what they are. An unsuccessful person has to work hard to be unsuccessful. A successful person has to work hard to be successful. It is the same premise. A lazy person has to be very lazy to be lazy. And a hardworking person has to be what? Very hardworking to be hardworking. It is the same premise. A bum works hard to be a bum. It's just the truth. But again, until we learn that we are the catalyst of fixing or moving forward. I always tell people my favorite activist in life is Harriet Tubman. I love Harriet. And the one thing Harriet is quoted by saying, and she always said this, I will always say this line, she said, they said, you freed a lot of slaves. And you know what she said? And I would have freed more if they knew they were slaves. And a lot of people don't know that they're slaves. Because teamwork will always make the dream work. And until we learn to start working together, we're going to continue to have problems. I don't care what a person dates. I want someone to find someone that could literally help them build a life. Because I'm going to tell you something, the worst thing in life is getting old alone. And the other second worst time is living in a situation where you know you're sleeping with your enemy. Y'all not working together. Y'all in competition. I'm going to go on record and say this. I dated a woman that everything was about competition. Her money was her money. Her car was her car. Mine was mine. It got to the point where we weren't building. And the only way we would win is based on what I accomplished for myself and what she accomplished for herself. When you say, I remember one time I was in the car with one of my homeboys, and we were driving out to a town, and his woman said to me, if he's broke, I'm broke. And I looked at, he tried to jump into the conversation. I'm snitching, I don't care if you get mad. He jumps in the conversation, he goes, I would never be, I'm okay. I'm like, bro, whoa. Let her finish. And as she kept speaking, she said to him, if you don't have money, I don't have money. If you're broke, I'm broke. And after we got out of the car, we walked away to the side. I said, let me tell you something. He said, what? I said, she's a wife. There are 3 types of women on earth, and there are 3 types of men, guys. There are baby mamas, there are baby daddies, there are boyfriends, and there are girlfriends. Then there's husbands, and there's wives. I tell my boy all the time he found a wife. And the reason being is because a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. He finds a good thing. And the reason being is because she complements the man. The woman was made from the rib of a man, ultimately giving him back his true strength. Let me say that again. Listen, I don't know if y'all heard me. Kenzie, a woman is created from the rib of a man. And when a man finds his rib, he finds his true strength. When a man doesn't understand that, it's because he doesn't understand strength. A lot of the guys that you see that talk about, I don't need no woman, is because of the fact that, let's see where they are in life. More married couples own more houses. More married couples own more businesses. More married couples live longer than not. More married couples are financially more secure. When we keep going, married couples produce more healthy children. When we keep going. So when you hear people say they don't need each other, it's because they drinking the devil's punch. They drinking a goddamn devil's punch. He's telling you this garbage because he realizes it. I'm going to get your babies, right? I'm going to have your daughter insecure twerking on poles. I'm going to have your son confused as hell when he walking around trying to shoot everybody and rob everybody. I'm going to keep you in a poverty environment because of the fact that you're not going to make enough to get the hell out. This is the real culture, guys. And when we don't realize that, we're sleeping with the goddamn enemy. This is the premise. When a woman believes that a man is not necessary for her to build a healthy child, she's failed because statistics do not show that. A woman looking you in your face and say, I don't need a man to raise a child, but yet still realize statistics show it is not unfavorable for a woman to raise a child by themselves. Look at the statistics. It's not my opinion. So I'm not shooting at no man or no woman. If a woman doesn't understand that, chances are the woman that say, I don't need a man, guess what it is? She comes from a broken situation. So guess what she does? She creates another broken situation. That's all she knows. That's why she thinks like that. But not looking like, damn, I do have issues. I told a guy the other day, a woman could never take advice from a man. Listen to this, kids. A woman could never take constructive criticism from a man if a man was never in the house giving a constructive criticism. That's why women have a hard time taking constructive criticism from men. And 9 out of 10 times when a woman speaks to a man, he fights it because he feels like he's fighting his mom. So when a woman talks to a man aggressively, disrespectfully, verbally, it's like he's talking to his mother. So sometimes he goes on the defense because of the fact that he's talking to his mom. Let me say that again, for those who didn't hear that. A man naturally fights a woman when she's talking at him rather than to him, because a mother talks at her children. She doesn't talk to them, right? So what happens is when he meets a woman who talks at him, he automatically goes on the defense because now he can defend himself against his mother, who's trying to be, the girl's being his mother. Same thing. But when a woman, she doesn't grow up with a man, you know what she does? She cannot take constructive criticism from a man because a man was never in the house showing her how to take it. So anytime he tells a woman about herself, she automatically goes on the defense because she was never taught how to do it. And this is the truth. And this is what we got to realize, that we're creating more broken people. And we don't want to see it because in most cases, people don't want to hear the truth because the lie just sounds so much better. To my person on my live that said I don't talk to my children, I don't talk at my children, I talk to my children, I give them much respect. So much respect. But our culture need to learn that we're not going to be fixed until we fix ourselves. We got to get out of the materialism. We got to get out of the aesthetics, but not the reality. Because you could look like you're successful, but ever been so much failing. You could look like you're winning, but ever look like you're so much failing. Because when you sit down and realize that the enemy is winning off the negligence of us, there are 3 types of mentalities. I always say this, versus 3 types of mentalities. There's a landlord versus a tenant. There's an employer versus an employee. And there's a retailer versus a consumer. Let me say that one more time. There's a landlord versus a tenant. There's an employer versus an employee. There is a retailer versus a consumer. The 3 on my right hand, landlord, right, retailer, and employer, makes money off of employees, tenants, and lastly, consumers. This is why the wealthy stay wealthy, because they create the 3 mentalities to my right. They create employers, they create landlords, and they also create retailers. This is why the other cultures are winning, because they're creating this mentality. They do not walk around looking like, you know what, I'm gonna live in the projects with Burberry all on me. Because you can put a Band-Aid on a wound that needs surgery, but yet and still the wound will not heal properly. So again, you can put material items on a person to look like you're winning, but every bit of it so losing, because it doesn't symbolize his wealth to the wealthy people. Because your reality will remain your reality. There was a time where I pretended like I had money because of the fact that I was uncomfortable with my reality. But I was never able to fix my reality because I did not want to change my reality. I felt like I can fix it by looking like it. We got to get out of competition. We're trying to look like we're in a better position than we are. Just because someone drives a hoopty don't mean they broke. Just because someone don't wear labels do not mean they're broke. Let's get this out of our mind. Let me say this again to the culture, guys. Just because someone drives a lower end vehicle do not mean they're broke. Just because someone do not wear labels do not mean they're broke, right? We talking logical, because I had to learn the hardest lessons by looking at people for what I see at face value opposed to reality. Because a lot of the people that caught me off guard financially were people that did not look like what I was taught what wealth is. We need to get back our families. And the only way we're going to take back our families is taking back our finances. We got to get in control of what we're doing with our economics. We got to learn that we need each other to build, right? We need each other to build. Ladies need men, and men need women, no matter how you slice it. What we need to stop doing is putting boys and girls together still, because you got grown boys and grown girls who are coming together fighting, right? Remember when you was in like elementary school and you didn't want to admit you like girls? So you fought against the girls because you didn't want to admit that you like the girls? You remember that? That's what grown-ups are still doing today. Because I don't need no girl. I got to do it by myself. And find yourself being in your wheelchair alone is a lonely life. It's a lonely life. And I'm not flying out to another country to get a hug. What's the Passport Brothers? They flying on flights to go get a hug from another woman that's only looking at them as economics. But she do not see him no more than money. And they believe that that's love. You try to buy love. That basically the Passport Brothers is telling men how to be something called, you know what? In a pimp world, you're called a John. A John is one who buys sex from women. So flying out to another country to be a John, I'm not for it. That's corny as hell. And to my ladies, don't think you off the leash either. Y'all be doing some crap too. Garbage. Right? Stop looking at a man as a goddamn paycheck. Start working with the man. When you look at a man, the lifestyle that you want, won't y'all build it together? Right? One time I had to tell this guy, and his wife said to me, it's crazy how comfortable, right, on live, and they don't want to push. I said, they're not going to push this narrative. I'm going to say this. Watch this. Imagine being in a relationship with someone, right? And you and this person was able to build yourself up to owning a home, right? And the difference is this. They're not going to push my content because my content is positive. My content is elevation. My content is pushing people forward. They're not going to push it. Social media holds back a lot of my videos because my videos are about substance. My video will get pushed down by the video of somebody doing the Kiki, do you love me? My video will get pushed down by somebody doing a TikTok dance. Because in order to keep people blindfolded, you got to keep them distracted. If I can keep you distracted, you will not even see what happened. We talking about the P. Diddy situation and the Jake Paul fight with Tyson, but we're not talking about the inflation that's going on right now. We're not talking about how black couples are losing economically. When I hear people tell me men aren't doing well, I'm like, because of the fact that we're coming from broken mothers who are literally fighting, and some of the mothers are literally coddling these boys to the point where these boys don't know how to be men. You got to put more examples around these men for them to learn how to be a man. A man just not going to wake up and be a man. You learn what a manly duties is by being around a man that's handling his duties. And it's sad, I'm going to say this on record before I get out of here today. There are women who date men who do not hold their men to the accountability to what they hold their sons. Let me say that again. Somebody going to get hot. Somebody going to get hot with this one. There are women who date men who do not hold their sons. Let me say that, hold on. Listen to this again. There are women who date men who do not hold their men to the standards that they hold their sons. And there are men who date women who they would never want their daughters to behave like. Y'all ain't hear me. Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.